Hey everybody, I'm here with my little guy Peanut. Working on the new setup. It's super rough, so don't pay attention to any of that. I'm still getting a lot of questions from social media friends asking about how to pick a profitable niche. So I figured we'd talk a little bit more about that today. Picking the right niche is really important if you want to make good money as a writer, as a freelance writer. And there are niches where you're not in a good position to make money. Not all of them are going to be profitable. So here's an example. I know I've mentioned this before in my videos, but it's worth repeating. One niche that I write in is fitness. And when I first picked fitness, the first type of business that I went right for was CrossFit gyms. And the reason I did that was because there are so many. There are thousands in the United States alone. So I just thought I stood to make so much money there. I was very wrong. After contacting probably a few dozen CrossFit gyms and not closing a single one, I finally got it through my thick head that most CrossFit gyms, A, don't have the money to pay for my services, and B, they're on such a different wavelength that trying to convince them that they need my writing, my blogging skills, it was fighting an uphill battle. And I even spoke one-on-one with a few gym owners who kind of confirmed this. They don't have the budget. A lot of them don't make much money, unfortunately. That's why you see a lot of them closing. Yeah, okay, honey. So I stopped cold emailing CrossFit gyms. It was not the right type of business in my niche to go for. That's an example of a niche that's not profitable. You won't make any money there. Now, that being said, I tend to think there are workarounds. For instance, it wasn't fitness as a whole that was not profitable. It was one segment of fitness. It was a sub-niche within the niche, if you will. There are still plenty of kinds of businesses in the fitness industry that are, that those niches are very profitable. I make very good money from those clients, and it worked out okay. So let's talk about how you can start to zero in on these profitable niches. The first thing you need to do is, if, let's say as an example, you're thinking of blogging for lawyers. This is purely an example, okay? What you would want to do is go to several lawyers' websites, and you need to start looking for hints that blogging is something they care about and it's something they can afford. So for starters, you're going to go on their websites and see, do lawyers generally have blogs? Are they somewhat active? Are they somewhat well written? Or does it look like they got, a random employee to write them? Even then, like the first and foremost, you want to see, do they have a blog? Is this a topic, an industry, a niche people are blogging for? If you were, again, as an example, if you were to go to 20 lawyers' websites and 18 of them didn't even have a blog, it's not to say it's not worth trying to cold email them, but you're definitely going to want backup because it might not be a profitable niche. All right, so that is a really good sign to look out for. And if you're not seeing a lot of blogs within that niche, then you should keep exploring. All right, second thing, you want to, and this kind of comes secondary, like if you're noticing a lot of businesses within a niche have a blog, that in and of itself is a pretty good sign that you could probably make some money writing for that niche. Beyond that, you want to look and see if it's something that businesses are really utilizing as a resource, or if it's almost like a hobby, I want to say. So for instance, using our example of lawyers, are they promoting these blogs on their social media? Are they writing about meaty topics? Remember, when businesses pay you to write content for them, you are an investment. They aren't just paying for you to churn out content. They want to see a return on that content, whether it's monetary or otherwise. So, blogging needs to be something that they value and understand that it's a tool, it's a resource for their business. Let's say, and again, this is purely hypothetical, I don't know this to be true, but I've met a couple writers who wanted to write for the video game industry. Let's say you were to go to, I don't know, would you call them like software developers, the people who create video games, whatever their title is, I don't know. Let's say you were to go to their websites and they had a blog that kind of like periodically updated, but it was more just like an extra, something they did for fun and not something they really utilized as part of their marketing plan. That might work against you because, again, people are giving you money in exchange for a service, but they're going to want to know that their money is doing something to help them grow their business. So you need people who value the content, who understand how it benefits their online presence as a brand and what they stand to get out of it. These are things you should highlight when you cold email people. You can say, high quality blogging helps decrease your bounce rate, increase traffic, improve rankings, grow your email list. The list goes on and on. But the truth is there are some niches that just don't care, or they don't understand, or they just don't get it. And, if you run into a niche where that seems to overwhelmingly be the case, then you might want to move on. Maybe I'll give you a few examples of profitable niches. Fitness and nutrition, those are two of mine. They're great. They're very broad. I've left mine broad intentionally because within those two niches, I've gone in several different directions. So there's that. Finance, technology, law. I do know freelance writers who write specifically for lawyers. What else? Did I say finance? Finance is a good one. Medicine, medical writers, they can make a lot of money because it's very highly specialized. On that note, not just anyone can go do it. You have to have the knowledge and the education, especially because it's a really sensitive topic. There are a lot of things, a lot of words you can't say because legally they could get you and the client in trouble. Good thing to know. Science writers, what else? Fashion, beauty, those are good ones. Lifestyle, mental health. Oh man, there are so many. That's a good list to start with. I said tech, B2B, SaaS, software as a service. So I actually give you kind of an idea, starting point. Sports, banking I've seen. And I mentioned before that my niches, I purposely left them broad. Let's talk about that for a minute because that can make a huge difference. A lot of people will tell you, and this can be true, that the more specific you get, the more money you stand to make. Yes, this can be the case. And the reason is because the more specific you get, if you become an expert on a very specific topic, you have very little competition. There aren't going to be many writers like you. Let's say I was like the country's leading writer on the keto diet. Is that even specific enough? Let's use this as an example. People would pay me a lot because I would know everything about the keto diet inside and out, whereas someone else who maybe writes about nutrition in general won't have that same knowledge. So the more of an expert you are, the more of an authority, the more knowledge you have, the more you can charge. At the same time, there will be cases where if you go too specific, you run the risk of it can backfire. You're so specific that the audience, the kind of businesses you can go after, there just won't be enough. And that's when you take it to an extreme. I don't want to discourage you from going specific, but if you're just starting out with picking a niche, I would suggest that to start, you leave it broad, and then kind of test everything, throw a bunch of stuff against the wall and see what sticks. And then if you notice that going in one direction would be more profitable, go that direction. For instance, I write about nutrition. I've had clients that are meal prep and delivery companies. Okay, I've also had nutritionists. I've also had supplement companies. And let's say out of those three examples within nutrition, let's say I noticed supplement companies, brands to be like wildly profitable, way more than meal delivery and nutritionists. I could go after supplement brands specifically, and that would be my niche. But all of my clients within the nutrition industry, they've all been great business for me. So I personally haven't felt the need to get much more specific than that. Okay? Same with fitness. I've got, athletic, athleisure brands, fitness equipment and gear. I've had trainers, I've had a couple of gyms. And really the only example I can give you where I was like, okay, I'm not gonna go after that crowd was CrossFit gyms. All right, so I hope this kind of helps you if you're starting to pick a niche. You have to pick a niche, something. Don't be a generalist freelance writer. This girl looked at me one time and she was like, well, no, I didn't pick a niche because I don't want to limit myself. And I wanted to be like, joke's on you, honey, because you are limiting yourself when you are a generalist. When you write about everything, you're not an expert of anything. You know a little bit about everything. You're mediocre at everything. You're shooting yourself in the foot because experts make more money, period. Look at the example, and I know I'm repeating myself, but in case you didn't catch this video, look at the example of a PCP, your primary care physician, versus a specialist like a cardiologist or an oncologist. Those specialists always make more money, and it's because they have very highly specialized knowledge of their field that PCPs don't. PCPs know, a moderate level about a bunch of things, but they guide you in the right direction toward the expert, toward the specialist. And those guys make the big bucks, okay? That's a really good example to kind of like draw the comparison there. General freelance writers cannot charge as much, or they can, but they won't make as much as expert freelance writers, okay? I have other videos on picking a niche. I talk about how to find a niche that works for you. I've said before, but just to repeat it, pick something you like, okay? Something you enjoy, you have an interest in. You can find something you love to write about that's also profitable, I promise. And pick something you're either very knowledgeable about or you are willing to learn a lot about. And also bear in mind that you should constantly be trying to learn more about your niche, okay? No one knows everything. I still read everything I can on nutrition, on fitness, on software, social media. I do a lot of writing in that arena. So always strive to be better, smarter than you were yesterday. We're all work in progress. We're all constantly evolving. And by always gaining more knowledge and more expertise, that's going to put you way ahead of your competition, and it's going to make you much more valuable to clients and potential clients. Whew! I hope that helps. I hope it makes sense. If this video helped you, I would really appreciate if you gave me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm going to be posting a lot more regularly. If you have any questions, leave a comment. I try to respond to all of them. And be sure to follow me on Instagram. My handle is Coach Megan Grant. I get a lot of questions there. You can leave a comment or send me a DM, and I'm posting videos all the time now, so I'm trying to get through these questions as much as possible. Alrighty, keep up the good work, keep your eye on the prize, and one foot in front of the other, one day at a time. Love you guys. See you later.